When you buy a home, do you know there's more to it? You don't just pick a house and move in. You just don't point things out and say, fix this, fix that. Did you know that the buyer has due diligence when it comes to buying a home? I'm here to explain a little bit about that because there's a lot of buyers that don't understand this. Well, did you know that buyer's remorse is becoming more common in today's market? You know, competing for a home has become so competitive that some home buyers are willing to overlook the traditional due process just to get their offer accepted. In some cases, real estate transactions have been completed sight unseen or without home inspections. These are big no-nos. According to a survey from Bankrate, roughly 43% of all homeowners who have purchased in the last year have at least a little bit regret about the home that they bought. The most common are underestimating maintenance costs and unexpected expenses, such as AC repair, replacing a hot water heater, termite issues, and some other things that come with owning a home. Furthermore, many home buyers are coming to the realization they purchased the wrong home. The top complaints were that their homes were either too big, too small, or just in the wrong location. Real estate due diligence is pivotal to mitigating these types of uncertainties. In this video, I'll share some key factors not to overlook during the due diligence period to avoid home buyer's remorse. What does due diligence mean when buying a house? When buying a home, due diligence is a window of opportunity a buyer is given to educate themselves and perform a detailed inspection on the property before deciding to proceed with completing the real estate transaction. The last thing you want to happen is to be blindsided by issues that show up after finalizing a home purchase. Once a real estate transaction is completed, there is no convenient return policy or rewind button. It is possible to take legal action against the seller. However, most cases conclude that the buyers are at fault for not performing sufficient due diligence. Therefore, filing a lawsuit and working with a real estate lawyer is only worth the trouble if you have a for sure case against the seller, like proving that the transaction was fraudulent. This implies that it is up to you, the buyer, to shoulder most of the responsibility before completing a home purchase. You need to be working with a real estate agent on this. The due diligence process is stressful and can be overwhelming when buying a piece of real estate. However, having a due diligence strategy can help you save time, hassle, and money in the long run. Teaming up with a qualified real estate agent and leaning on their experience is the most effective course of action to take when you buy a home. The job of a real estate agent is to represent you and have your best interest in mind during negotiations. As realtors, we do our best to be a resource that can guide you and advise you on situations that can occur throughout the home buying process. We also try to provide all avenues, figures, data, and contacts necessary to make the best decision possible for you on purchasing a home. There are some benefits when you're using a real estate agent to help you purchase a home. Let me name a few of the things that we do help you with in helping with your due diligence process. We help with local market research on neighborhoods and home prices in your desired zip codes. We help you determine your buying parameters, setting up viewings, and helping you find homes that match your buying criteria. Gather info on the neighborhood's homeowners association restrictions. Advice on what to expect after reviewing all seller disclosures. advice on how to negotiate issues after doing the home inspection, give you contacts for local mortgage lender and home inspectors, making offers and putting together a real estate contract for you, negotiate the purchase price. These are just a few of what a realtor can do for you. However, there is a misconception that the realtor's responsibility is to represent you in all aspects of purchasing a home. You have to understand buying a home requires multiple services to be involved, and you as the buyer must do your due diligence to initiate and complete whatever these services need. Now let me tell you a few things that the realtor's job is not to do. We do not help you qualify for a mortgage loan or do financial due diligence. We do not pay for your home inspection. We do not order or pay for your appraisal. We do not shop for you to find a decent home insurance policy. We do not provide documents required by a title company. We do not view properties on your behalf. You must be there to preview the property before you write a contract. Again, real estate agents will do their best to provide you with the best advice possible to help you negotiate the purchase of buying a property. However, you, the person buying the home, must stay informed and carry out the necessary tasks that need to be done. Now that we have established the home buyer's responsibilities, we can do a deeper dive into the initial due diligence period, also known as the inspection period. When does the inspection period start? How long is the due diligence time period? What can you expect from the sellers during this period? The current homeowner provides disclosures in the first 7 days to disclose any known conditions on the property. Usually these are things that relate to the structural and mechanical functions of the property. These are things like the roof, the foundation, the HVAC system, the plumbing, and the home's electrical system. The sellers also have to disclose if the property has had any repairs or work done recently to the property. In California, the due diligence period lasts up to 17 days and can be extended depending on the circumstances. The seller has to provide disclosures within the first 7 days of starting a contract. Within this due diligence period, the buyer can order any necessary third-party inspections on the property to educate themselves further and create expectations on whether or not the property is worth pursuing. Then, depending on the outcome of the assessment, it is within the buyer's rights to continue the transaction, push to negotiate the terms of the contract, or to terminate the agreement altogether. Now, here are some of the due diligence items that need to be addressed once the purchase agreement has been accepted, and I'll explain these as we go along. The first one is an earnest money deposit. The earnest money, or EMD, is a separate monetary commitment from the buyer to the seller. It is typically 1% of the total sales price, and most contracts require that the EMD is paid within the first 3 days of the seller accepting the offer, and it is to be held in an escrow account. If the buyer terminates the contract during the inspection period, or if the seller breaches their end of the sales contract, the earnest money is refunded back to the buyer. However, if the inspection period lapses and there is no breach of the contract, the earnest money goes to the seller instead. Let's talk about seller disclosures. As stated earlier, the seller disclosures are documents that disclose any pertinent details or defects about the property's current condition that the seller is aware of. The requirement of these documents varies depending on the state you live in. It would be ideal to obtain these documents as early as possible. Now let's talk a little bit about the title search. The state you live in will determine if you need to work with a title company or a real estate attorney to facilitate the legal work required before closing a home purchase. Either way, their job is to perform a title search against the property to determine if there are any issues related to that house's title. If the title is clear, they will offer title insurance to protect the home's new owner. Let's talk about the home inspection. I cannot stress enough how paramount it is to get a home inspection done by a licensed home inspector. A buyer can do several types of inspections to make sure that they're happy with the home they're purchasing, such as a general home inspection, a mold inspection, a pest inspection, a sewer inspection. There's quite a bit of a list that you can choose from. Your real estate agent can give you that list and you can decide which ones that are most important that you want done. Coordinate with your real estate broker as soon as possible to schedule any necessary home inspections that you want done to feel comfortable with your purchase. The appraisal. This is a report generated by a third-party licensed home appraisal that assesses a property's fair market value. If the buyer uses a mortgage loan to purchase the property, the lender will require one to be completed. Otherwise, if the buyer is paying cash, it can be ordered by the buyer themselves. CC&Rs and why they are important. CC&R stands for Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions, and they only pertain to homes where there is an HOA. The CC&R are the rules that are enforced within neighborhoods that have HOAs. It is best to review these rules during the inspection period to create expectations on some of the restrictions the community has. It could be things related to how you have to cut your yard or the type of pets you are allowed to have. Let's talk lender conditions. In addition to the appraisal, there may be additional conditions that a lender may seek before giving the final approval for your mortgage. It could be other paperwork, a requirement to increase credit score, or having a binding insurance policy to be effective the day after closing. This does not apply if you are paying cash. Let's talk homeowners insurance. Homeowners insurance is a requirement if you are buying a home using a mortgage. Depending on the survey report, flood insurance may also be required. In the event you are paying cash, insurance is not required, but it is still highly recommended. Now we're down to closing. Closing is the final phase of a home buying transaction. This is coordinated by the party that is handling all of the title work. It is also the most important and does not come without some degree of risk. At the closing, wiring instructions are given to the buyer to provide funds for either the down payment or the entire purchase price. Wire fraud is becoming an issue that is increasingly more common. In some cases, unexpected home buyers are losing all the funds necessary for their transaction to wire fraud. Work closely and communicate directly with the closing company to prevent any of this kind of issues. Here are a couple of questions that I do get asked by home buyers. First question, what if I'm buying a rental property? The answer, the due diligence process is almost identical when buying a rental property. The main difference is in the type of appraisal required. Another question, what if the home inspector finds something wrong with the property? The answer, in the event the inspector finds something wrong with the property, you can try to negotiate a lower price or ask the seller to make necessary repairs to the property before it closes. A third question is there a due diligence process after closing of the property? The answer is absolutely. Home maintenance and making sure the property taxes are paid should be top priority for all homeowners. Even if you have your taxes paid through your home payment, make sure that those payments are getting paid. Otherwise, you'll be getting a letter in the mail and some fines put on that amount of money that you owe to the tax collector. Now, here are a couple of final thoughts for you. Doing your due diligence is an important aspect of the home buying process. Here are some of the key takeaways to keep in mind. 1. Work with a qualified real estate agent. 2. Understand your time frame during the inspection period. 3. Do your due diligence to make sure you have covered all your bases. So I hope this information was good for you. I'm sure some of you are surprised. Some of you already know this. Others may just be totally confused. Make sure you get a good real estate agent and ask questions. Make sure you do your due diligence and inspections on everything when buying a property. Ask lots of questions. This is your home you're going to be living in. You need to know everything you can about that property. So again, there should be a video right in here for you to look at. Please give me a call, text me, drop me a line, anything you want to ask questions about anything in real estate. Again, this is Mike Bustamante with Keller Williams, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.